Welcome to the all-new Virus Imperial updated gameplay guide. In our first match, we're facing off against Roaring Knights, which is going to be a very strong deck. Both these decks are very powerful in this format, and here we are going to be starting off first. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan my hand just because I feel like I want to see more searching pieces, although you could generally build up a stack, which is not really like the ideal situation you want to be in for any like DNA based decks. What I'm looking for are searching cards, rookies. I want to set up my trash as soon as possible. Analog Youth, Miss Memory Boost, Purple Memory Boost, my Vmons, my Wormmons, and so on, so that I can always put cards in there while I'm trying to build eventually to go for my DNA combos. You guys can see this is a little bit better because the searching is just going to keep going and going. We're going to start out with Analog Youth, and one of the things I'm always trying to teach you guys when you play Virus Imperial is don't always Digivolve your Vmon or your Wormmon in the back. Always keep them in your hand because you want to utilize their on-play effects, and you want to keep the Minomon because we do play purple options in this deck, and if we Digivolve the Vmon that is red on top of it, we'll no longer have access to our purple options. And that's why I always prioritize on hard playing it. As you guys can see, I'm keeping the egg safe, which is totally fine because once I'm ready, then I would Digivolve into the BT16 Wormmon because I want to prioritize pushing that out and then using its starter main phase effect. Here I'm trying to cycle and draw as much as I can, so I'm going to chip away with the Vmon, expecting it to be deleted in security, but that works in my favor because now I can go into the Shadramon, play the Vmon back out to trash away a card, and then draw two, and we have a bit of time to continue, but we won't have much time left just because Roaring Knights right now at the moment, seems like they're not doing too much. They're just setting up Cool Boys, but once they ramp up eventually, the Cool Boys are going to give them a ton of value, and you guys can see they're already starting to count on what they can actually play out. They can really get into the big combos, and the later the game goes, the worse it is going to be for us, just because we won't be able to push any further if they're able to establish really strong blockers on the board, and if they have more cards on their hand, they can start acing us and going for lots of crazy plays. So we're going to take as much advantage as we can. But here they come down with the Gallant mod, reducing pretty much a ton of cost and gaining that memory with Cool Boy. They get to clear our board off of here and go for a check. Luckily, they found us the Matte Tamer, which is actually really nice in this deck. I've been liking it a lot as a newer addition, as the main memory tamer of the deck now, which is going to be purple, helping us fulfill the purple option cards requirements, but also synergizing with our Vmon or anything when we trash our cards from our hand. So finally, with the purple memory boost, which lets us dig deep, I found the BT16 Wormmon, so I could actually just go ahead and Digivolve it in the back right away. That's what I want to do, and then I'm going to go ahead and play out this Vmon to continue to trash and draw and find my pieces. And that's why I really like that map, because we get to suspend it down and gain that memory back, pretty much making that Vmon a 2-cost hard play. And whenever we play out that Vmon for free, we can always suspend that mat to also gain additional memory. That one memory actually matters a lot. Giving your entire turn like a 4 memory to play with actually really helps out with some crazy combos, which again you guys will see just in a bit. They're gonna come down with a Ganku right here, playing out the Gallant. Gallant's gonna pop the Vmon whether on play and on swing. They has that rush, so it can go ahead and attack. I felt the Roaring Knight player could have actually played out the Lord Knight off the Gankumon, and then they could have played the Omeka, and then they could have used the Purge to play out the Galantmon afterwards. That way they would have 4 bodies on the board in total, but we're going to take advantage of this moment anyway. Since we're ready to go, we have a lot of resources that we can utilize in the trash already. We have all the memory that we need. Push out the Wormmon, you start a main, go into Shadramon. Shadramon is now going to play out whatever we want, either the Wormmon or the Vmon. I was thinking of going with the Vmon, that way I can draw and trash cards, and then I can suspend Matt to gain that memory, put myself back to 3. But I decided to go for the Wormmon just so I can dig deeper and be more selective on the pieces that I want to. And then I was actually going to go into the Vmon after the fact anyways, because I have to promo Shadramon, which could easily play it out. And then by Digivolving it for 2 on top of Wormmon, that way I don't have to Digivolve it for 3 on top of the Vmon. So I'm kind of being a bit more efficient with my memory. And then now with Vmon that's played, I get to then trash, draw 2, and then suspend the mat to gain the memory back here. And now I'm pretty much online and ready to go with a bunch of DNA. It's open right now. I could even use my purple memory boost if I wanted to, but not quite there just yet. Don't feel like I need it immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and DNA into the Dino B BT16, playing out the EX3 Imperialdramon. Would be nice if we had the newer Imperialdramon because it would have been really suitable in that situation. So I'm not going to attack knowing that the Gankumon is 13k. So I'm going to go into the Virus Dragon mode, forcing them to delete something. They end up deleting their Gallant. We're going to go ahead and attack And then thanks to the BT16 Wormmon, we can suspend down the Gankumon as well. And as we go into the attack, we can go into the fighter mode. So just before the happened, they just wanted to play the Omekamon before the fighter mode came down, just because the Gallimon was gone, which is totally fine here. And now the fighter mode virus is going to stop them from playing any Digimon or any Tamers by effects. And then we're going to trash their security. We're going to go ahead and delete that Gankumon, not letting them add additional sources underneath King Drasil. And we also get to go for 2 checks. If they block with the Omekamon, we have piercing as well. So it doesn't really matter at that point. They're definitely going to let it go here. And then this is where we can actually finish it off like crazy. And I'm going to show you guys how we're going to go ahead and do it, because we're going to use the Wormmon to use its on-play effect. And what I'm thinking of is the DNA up all over again to make 2 attacks to finish off that last security and finish them off, and also suspending down that Omekamon, which is a blocker, which wouldn't even matter to us anyways. I made a little bit mistake here. I accidentally paid 1 more memory to Digivolve to Shadramon because I forgot Wormmon's supposed to reduce it by 1, but it doesn't matter anyways, because I'm going to show you guys how that this game, we're going to secure the win into the bag right here immediately at this moment. Going to Dino B. Dino B is going to allow us to go ahead and make the attack before end of turn happens. Ideally, we're supposed to suspend that Omekamon during that attack, because now at the end of the turn, we're going to DNA into our Virus Dragon mode, which is not going to delete anything. That's totally fine, but we get to Blitz to finish off another attack and suspend down the Omekamon, securing the game. Alright, in the next game, we're facing off against the new Shoutmon deck and Crossheart deck with Shoutmon E-Cross6. We are starting off first, and I decided to keep this hand just because I have 2 searching pieces to work off with. So I felt like it was okay, and then I could go ahead and plan to either play Miss Memory Boost right on the get-go and then play Vmon the following turn afterwards, which exactly is what I do here. The trashes are not the greatest because I'd rather have those options in my hand instead. In hindsight, maybe I should just play the Vmon to draw more, but I felt like, you know, I want to grab additional card first and then do it that way. That way I'm trying to maximize my searching. Here I decide to pop the boost. That way I can play out a Vmon, still be at 0 since they have a Nene memory setter, and then I get to play purple memory boost to find my other remaining piece that I would like to go and dig for. And then here now I have a Wormmon, I have another Vmon to work with, so I can continue to search my way up. If I'm really stuck, I always have the choice just to Digivolve straight up in the line at the back if I really want to, but things are looking okay. You know, feels like, you know, they're not rushing us down just quite yet, so we have a bit of time to work with. So here I'm going to go with the Vmon. Once again, trashing a card and then drawing 2 and then see where we're at. I can pop the boost and then go back to 3, play out another level 3, which is going to be the Wormmon, grab additional pieces, set up another one in the trash as well, and then now I can play out another Wormmon. But I felt like, you know what, I'm actually gathered and ready to go. Might as well and start my DNA combos and Digivolve and draw more cards that way instead. And then with Flamedramon, we're going with the classic one, Digivolving for 2, and then into Shadramon for 2, end of turn DNA into the Dino B, and then now we get to play out the Imperialdramon, and we get to use the Dino B to go ahead and swing and raid over their Omni Shoutmon, which we can take over it. We also have piercing with extra DP buffs thanks to that new Imperialdramon. If we ever would be deleted, I can go ahead and DNA. The reason why I didn't go for the end of turn DNA once more here into the dragon mode, just because I felt like I don't need to. I don't really want to push for that full-on combo just yet, because I can potentially play with a threatened ace and go into the ace dragon mode if I ever want to, and then maybe even the next turn I can push for additional attacks and then keep my Imperialdramon effect kind of live, and then when we ever would be deleted, then I would use the Imperialdramon's effect to let us DNA right away, and that was my thought process behind it there. We're sitting in a pretty good position, although there's no rookie in the back to work with, but that's totally fine. You guys can see the playstyle that I'm sort of adopting when I'm playing this particular deck, which I'm always not gonna just Digivolve into a rookie in the back. The only rookie I really want to Digivolve is the BT16 Wormmon. That's kind of like how I like to play, just because we want to utilize as many on-play effects of the Vmon and the Wormmons, like I mentioned before, from the EX3 set. So here, if they go into Sparrowmon or Raptor Sparrowmon, if they try to attack into us, I have the opportunity to ace and encounter play and then go from there. But I felt like I didn't really need to do that either, just because it's like, oh, it's just a smaller body. I don't really need to get rid of it. And letting them check here with the Wormmon, BT16, which is great. We get to use it later on as well. So it looks like they're going to end off with a Taiki search here. They're looking to probably grab the Shoutmon, but that means they don't get to tuck anything underneath Taiki, so it looks like they really need that piece there, and then everything else gets bottom deck, which is, yep, totally fine for us. Here, now we get to go ahead and proceed as our plan. Probably going to Digivolve into the Wormmon, but which I probably should have did that first, But I'm going ahead and attack, running into the Shaman E-Cross-6, so I'm going to use the Imperialdramon's effect to DNA to dodge the deletion of security battle. I was about to go to the EX3 Virus Dragon mode, but I felt like here I actually don't want to. I want to go into the Ace one instead, although it's ideal to threaten the Ace. But the reason is because that way I actually don't have to pass the turn with giving them additional memory, and then it allows me to actually, compensate for the mistake that I did, where I can actually Digivolve the Wormmon in the back afterwards, which is what I'm gonna do. But here we still get to check out all their security, cleaning everything up, and also giving that floodgate effect where they can't play anything with Digimon or Tamers by effects. And then now we can go into the Wormmon, and we find the mat as well, so we can pass them perfectly back at 3, which is a lot more optimal, I feel like, because this ensures that guarantees myself to have another play in the following turn. And I'm not afraid of having that liability of Ace Overflow in this particular moment, because if they ever do delete our stack somehow with effects, we have Partition to play stuff out, we have Retail as well, and most importantly, is really just enabling us to have that Wormmon ready to go and having a mat so we can start off at 3, and then we can actually just push for additional attacks. We can easily probably go for 2 attacks if we need to in the next turn, and even if they blocker, it's not going to do too much and stop us because we can always suspend down their Digimon thanks to the BT16 Wormmon. So it looks like they come down with the E-Cross-6, which is going to DP reduce the fighter mode down enough. They can't play the Shooting Starmon, unfortunately, because we have that floodgate effect stopping them from playing Digimon by effects. So here they're forced to address the stack. They have to get rid of it. They want to get rid of it anyways, because if they don't, that's an extra swing in the next turn, which makes it even more problematic for them. So they're contemplating, they want to go ahead and attack into us, but we also have retaliation, so that's why I'm not worried. We're going to trade stacks, which actually works in their favor a little bit because they get to material save like 4. It actually also works in our favor having our stack deleted because it gives us all the resources and level 4s and 5s that we can utilize from the trash all over again instead. They go into second E-Cross-6, swing into our security with Rush, and then this is where they really need to put down like another blocker if they can. If they don't, we easily can suspend down their E-Cross-6, and that's going to be game for them. So we're going to have to see what they're going to do here, and depending on what they do, that's how our game plan is going to change a little bit. So it looks like they're going to go for the triple Tamer to pass turn, and realistically looking here, you guys might be thinking, we could just easily push out the Wormmon, Digivolve into any level 4 off its effect, and then we could have just swung for game by suspending the E-Cross-6, but I'm being cautious right here just because I feel like there could be level 7 aces that you can be playing in this deck. One of the things that we talked about before was that actually you can play Shine Greymon Ace, which actually kind of somewhat works in this deck, which is kind of funny, but it has triple colors. So during the time, I just didn't know what they can potentially ace into us. So that's why I still want to go ahead and climb up with my combos here. I decided to Hard Evo the Shadramon from my hand directly just so I can play the Wormmon, and then now Hard Evo once again, playing out that Vmon to trash and draw 2, where Matt will put us back to 0. And then my plan is to go into Dino B, play out the new Imperialdramon, and attempt to swing while suspending their E-Cross-6. But just in case, if they ever do come down with some kind of level 7 ace that can threaten and delete our stacks, we can easily use Imperialdramon to DNA and dodge it, and then go into the Dragon mode to make that final attack. In this game, we're facing off against Giga Seadramon, which got kind of new support for Seadramon and Aquatic in BT20 as well. Pretty strong deck against Virus Imperial, and it's a little bit of a hard matchup when I played a lot of games with this particular battle, just because they are able to de-digivolve us. They can actually also bottom deck us, which generally we want stuff in our trash. And when they do that, they can establish a lot of momentum and they get a lot of damage in, and they can suspend quite a lot of times, which actually slows us down quite a bit. You guys might have quickly I saw the opening hand. I didn't really have a rookie to work with, or just generally I didn't have any searching cards that I can work off of with. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan and try to find something better. Like I mentioned throughout the entire video, we want to see at least 2 searching cards that can help us get there and we can get ramped up and so on. So here we're going to go ahead and start first because we want the die roll, but okay, you know what? Miss Memory Boost is not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and trash and draw 1 card. Now, things don't look the greatest because I don't have any other searching cards to work with after that. It's funny because you can see on the other side they go for blue memory boost and it revealed like 3 Sangomons as well, and I mean obvious what to take at that point. So looking here, okay, no, unfortunately there isn't really a top deck card we can work with either. We're pretty much bricked up at this point, guys, but I want to show you all that even though when we're bricked, doesn't mean it's all over. The game is still playable. I want to show you guys how we can actually prolong into a point where eventually we can actually make a comeback and even win out of this. So they're the opponent's side. They're continuing to search. They're going to ramp up their pieces. They got really good setup, way better than us at that point. Find a purple memory boost. Okay, not too bad. We can grab another piece, but no Wormmons to be found. And we just got a Shadramon, and we're still stuck with level 4s to work with. But that's okay, as long as we can eventually find more cards like Analog Youth and other missed memory boosts and so on. We can go ahead and start digging and eventually find a rookie. We can just hard drop the BT16 Wormmon, and then we can get our combos online and all ready to go. They have a lot of cards and boosts to work with on the opponent's side. Now they can go for the chip and they can unsuspend with Megaseedramon. So yeah, still not looking the greatest in a hand situation. But once again, I'm going to show you guys how to play even when you're bricked up, just because there's always a bit of hope to actually make a comeback. They're not really just going aggressive into us just quite yet. They're not doing a ton of checks that they really need to as Gigaseedramon, but eventually they will get there. But we'll also show you guys how we can actually counter against them too. They don't have X antibody to work with here, so they're not going to be able to play something out of Gigaseedramon, unfortunately, but they are still able to reboot, have a blocker on the board, which is really strong, and they can still potentially unsuspend multiple times. At this point, I just accepted the fact that, look, I'm stuck with level 4s and level 6s here. I can only just continue to hard drop and give them as little memory as possible. The other way to think about it is maybe I should have kept the XVmon just because it has a lower play cost, but not only that, I can actually utilize it to go ahead and DNA right away as soon as I play it out, which would have been useful, because if I gathered all those boosts, I could have like popped all those boosts, and if I had a level 5 to work with, I can go ahead and DNA right off the bat. But here they just hard drop a Metal Seedramon and bomb decking our stuff, which, man, things are looking pretty rough, I have to say. So this is what I'm going to do here. Pop the boost. Now the only way that I have to prioritize is to draw as many cards as I can. And the only way to do that is to hard drop a 5, Digivolve, and climb up traditionally like that. It always feels bad when you have to do that as a Imperial deck, but that's at least something we can do. At least that's something we can kind of play off of and go and continue to try and stay in the game. This is where it comes down. We want them to actually attack. They feel confident. They see us so bricked up. They're going to go ahead and start attacking and unsuspending, and they pretty much have lethal at this point. But this is where we actually can blast into our Virus Dragon mode. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to not going to be able to pop anything off its own effect, because everything that they have on their side is 11k or higher. But we can immediately also Digivolve into our Fighter mode from our hand for free, so that we can go ahead and trash their security, and then we get to pop something on their side, which we are going to go ahead and delete the Metal Seedramon so we gain Ace Overflow back. We're going to let them check through. That's pretty much where our rookie's been, really. It's all in our security. But here already, you guys can see we're back in the game. We're kind of back in the game. We can continue now to play, and we can actually just get rid of the security. We are playing from very far behind, but these are the moments, guys, on how you can still kind of play. Comeback is possible. We have to get rid of that Gigaseedramon, which is a little unfortunate because we don't have any DP buffs on our side, and we're gonna have to crash right into it, giving them the Ace Overflow as the only choice. But at least suspend Analog Youth to gain that memory back, and then we'll just at least prolong one more turn and stay in the game for just in a bit. Here they get to go into their crab, they get to re-digivolve and have a Seedra put us back to 1, and at this moment, yeah, they can swing into us and it's pretty much over. But this is the art of the ace, guys. I'm going to teach you guys how you just hard drop a level 6, because we can threaten another Virus Dragon mode ace. Now you guys can see in my hand, I clearly don't have it, but that's the confidence that you need to be exerting against your opponents. In dire situations, there are times that by doing that, you can buy yourself time where it's enough to the point that you can potentially make a comeback eventually. They learned from the first time. They thought they had lethal there with the Gigaseedra earlier and the Metal Sea, but we surprised them, we blasted into them, we deleted their stack. They can't just go ahead and swing without thinking twice here, because now we're in their heads. They think if we go into another one, we delete their stack and they have to rebuild all over again. And then chances are they may not have all their pieces now. They might be slower in tempo. And then eventually we can just go for tons of checks that you guys seen in the previous 2 games on how as long as we see one Wormmon, we can go ahead and make those final attacks. And then once we do actually blast into potentially another dragon mode, we go into fighter mode, we basically clear out a ton of their security all at the same time, and they're gonna lose all of it. So these are the things that they're probably thinking in their head. They're gonna instantly lose the security if they swing without thinking, and they are all concerned, really scared, trying to find something to, you know, have a contingency plan, maybe try to build into Giga C. And the thing is, they can't really out this Imperialdramon either, because if you think about it, even if they go into Metal C Ace, it can only bottom deck a 7 cost. Giga C doesn't really get rid of it, it de-digivolves, but we have a hard raw level 5 that is pretty much unaffected by most of their stuff. Unfortunately, they came down with a Mega CX with X antibody so they can stun down our Imperialdramon. Because my follow-up plan was to actually go into the dragon mode, and then by going to the dragon mode, by hard evoing, I can still at least go into the fighter mode I have in the hand and then eventually remove their stack and make them play all over again. And if they weren't able to answer that in the next turn, then it's pretty much all doomed. So pretty smart on them here to actually stun down the Imperialdramon, because we still had a play, and that was my game plan, to actually go ahead and do that in the following turn, and then we can actually maybe even have a hope to win from there. Looks like they're finding some missing pieces. I'm not too sure what they're looking for, but they're maybe just taking their time as well, just because they felt like, okay, they're in a good position. Maybe they could just, you know, slowly find everything and gather what they need and then swing out eventually. But again, our Imperialdramon is suspended, so we really don't have much to do. I have 3 different cards and choices I can play here. I can either hard drop the XV, pop the Sango, I can hard drop the Mat, put them back to 1, or I can gamble a bit and go for a missed memory boost and hope I find and destiny draw my way out. But I didn't really want to do that. I want to go for a safer play just because I felt like I have the upper hand at the moment in terms of threatening the ace. If they played around it the last turn, they would continue to play around it this turn generally, unless they decide to go ahead and swing without thinking. But that's really all they had to do. That's all they had to do. But this is the art of the bait, guys. I want to show you guys, and that's how you can prolong games and continue to play. And we're just waiting for that opportunity to come back. There are games that you guys seen gameplays on this channel where we've actually made comebacks just by threatening potential aces that we never had, which is really, really funny. So now they're going to go into Giga Seedramon, they're going to go play out their body here, and then they get to bottom deck our XV, which is also unfortunate because I would have at least Digivolved and continued, but we're still bricked here to this point. Wow, man. Luck is not on our side at all in this game, and I guess definitely a showcase of sometimes when you brick really hard with this deck. But you know what, now that my Imperialdramon's free to go ahead and attack because they can't stun it down with Mega CX since they don't have X antibody, we can go ahead and go for the blitz swing there. Even though we don't get the DNA of the virus dragon mode to make them pop something, we're still gonna clear off that board anyways by going into this fighter mode, make them trash the security, and then we get to pop something, and then we just raid into the other thing, and then we pierce for the 2 damage, putting them down to 0. I'm also being mindful to make sure to pop the Mega CX to play around their Metal C Ace just in case. But yes, I know we still lost in the end, but I just want to show you guys how it's still possible to play because we're really close at that point to potentially turning it around. Don't forget to grab your very own Ultimate Dragon King collection on the AVAULT store right now as they're limited quantities. As always, thank you guys so much for the support and thank you for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.